So yeah, the Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 dev team just dropped a ton of brand new details about upcoming content coming to the game, and we get our first look at, yes, the cosmetics we can expect as well. This is looking really, really sharp right here, but that's not all. We also have a blog post to lay out the release schedule for the seasons over the next months and year, and we've got news about an upcoming patch this week and what that will actually include. And players are experiencing an awkward pre-match standoff because there's no duplicate classes allowed, and we've got a reply from the dev team about this one as well. Plus, what about chapter banner customization, new PvP features, more detailed armor color options, and yes, the dev does reply about these as well. And players want this one operations feature to be updated ASAP, and the dev team is being called out for what some are calling a dumb decision about progression. So we got a lot to go over, and yes, as always, I will be going over your top comments. So remember, leave a comment down below. But yes, we got to get into these brand new customization options, and it's part of a new update to Steam, which showcases what we can expect from the season pass and the seasons. Check it out. They have this brand new image here. It's a little bit different as well. Season 1, of course, is already available right now, so go get it. And we're going to be seeing some really cool cosmetic options, as you can see right here. Now, let me know which one is your favorite. We got a lot going on here between Ultramarines, new customization for that, and a bunch of other stuff. But I got to say, man, I am absolutely digging this one. But I love the blue on the white here. And it's just nice to see we're going to be getting stuff focused around enhancing the customization of our Space Marine. This by far is my favorite though. And we got this one right here as well. Sound off which one you like the best, but we got to get into the actual blog post right now. And here it is right here. Now they go on to describe the season pass that they're going to be receiving the armor, weapon, and champion cosmetics, of course, from your favorite Space Marine chapters through 4 phases. Now available at launch is going to be the Ultramarines cosmetic pack. Again, that is available right now. Season 2 is going to be happening before the end of 2024. We're going to be seeing the Dark Angels cosmetic pack, Dark Angels champion pack, and Dark Angels weapon skin pack. And then season 3 is going to be winter 2025. I'm assuming this is going to be January or February 2025. And it says one Space Marine chapter to be revealed will receive a champion pack, cosmetic pack, and a weapon skin pack. Another Space Marine chapter to be revealed will receive a champion pack as well. Then season 4 will be starting in spring 2025. That could be April, March, May. We don't have an exact date on that one yet. But it says one Space Marine chapter will receive a champion pack, a cosmetic pack, and a weapon skin pack. Another Space Marine chapter, to be revealed still, will receive a champion pack as well. So yeah, some very exciting stuff coming up there. But you know, this did not mention any of the brand new content coming up. We still are going to be getting new additions to the PvE mode and PvP. The Horde mode is going to be seeing some cool stuff happening. This month, we're going to be seeing some additions to the Battle Barge as well. So yeah, some very exciting stuff happening around Space Marine 2. I am extremely excited for the future, and I'm curious to see how the game holds up in the long term. But I'm very happy to see how they're arranging things, and they are being fairly transparent so far about how they're also doing things as well. But yeah, let's talk about the new patch coming up here, because yes, they did go on to say this right here. A first update will come this week. It should fix multiple crash fix, start of the game, first cutscene crash, etc. Improvements to CPU overheat issue, and server improvements, and render bug improvements as well. So that was recently mentioned out there by the dev team. And, you know, there has been some problems emerging from playing this game, especially when it comes to the rule they have set for operations, and that is no duplicate classes. Check out the headline right here. It says Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 players having awkward pre-mission standoffs because 2 of the same class can't play together. And we got some dev responses here, because this does lead us here. Remove the player limit on classes. Here's what it says. Personally, my biggest issue from what I've seen so far is the limitation on how many of each class there can be per lobby. Like, come on, only 1 person per class in PvE and only 2 people per class in PvP? I mean, sure, you could use the excuse of balance, but I and so many others simply say it was in Space Marine 1. So for PvP, it's literally as simple as, oh, their whole team is X, then we just go all Y to counter that. And if they're concerned about the perks, well, they've already said they aren't in PvP. And on top of that, there's a relatively simple fix the team perks are just that, team perks, meaning all they have to do is make it so only one of each team perk can be used in PvE. For example, if you and your two friends are all tactical only, one person in the team could bring the perk that buffs your team's damage by 10%, which means the other two would still have two other team perks to choose from out of the 3 total that every class has. Overall, it's just really dumb decision in my opinion, because in the end, what's more fun, being forced into picking a class because it's the only one left, or freely choosing the class you want, even if someone else is using it? On top of all that, we play these games for fun, and I don't know about you all, but I genuinely hate when the amount of fun I can have has a limit put on it in the name of balancing, especially when said balancing doesn't really make that much sense. Like if there was only one team perk per class and or the perks were available in PvP, it makes sense, but the way it's been explained means that it just doesn't really make sense. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll still end up having plenty of fun, but there's just something about being able to run around with my buddies while all of us goof around and run the same loadout or class despite it not being the most optimal, strategic, or intelligent idea that just breeds good memories, if that makes any sense at all. Not to mention the biggest issue with limiting how many people can play an individual class, matchmaking. Now, what I mean by this is that, say someone wants to play heavy because it's the only one they have leveled right, but they got into a PvE lobby that already has someone playing heavy. Well, most people are just gonna leave the lobby and try again, meaning matchmaking times get massively ramped up because no one's staying in the lobbies due to the class they want to play is already taken. That right there at the end is one of the biggest points. Now, the dev team did take a look at this and they wish listed this right here, saying the following: hello, we made this choice for balancing reasons mostly. We'll see what we can consider on the long run. So they are looking into this. And, previously some people were also saying, hey, at least do private matches where we can go batshit crazy with whatever class we want to play as for the role play experience. And they did say that they are also looking into that as potentially as an option as well. But I really do think that this system might be fine-tuned, as the dev team does realize that this could potentially really impact matchmaking. But I've always said to you guys, it's most likely wise to go into this game leveling 2 characters kind of like simultaneously in a way. Some of these classes do share weapons, and it's wise to go in there, at least at the start, to have the idea of having 2 classes that you're going to be bouncing around between at the very least. And I think that could alleviate some of the disappointment. But difficulty is also an issue because progression is definitely tied to difficulty and vice versa. So yeah, it's like kind of an interesting balance that you have to have with a leveled character going into higher difficulty. So I definitely understand where people are coming from with this one. We'll get more into that here in just a moment as well. But we also have chapter banners. Someone said this right here. It says, as it stands right now, when you plant your chapter flag, it's always the default banner. I would love to see the additional chapters have access to their chapter banners so we can plan the flag and it read appropriately, and maybe have a few generic ones for the people that want to create their own chapters. It would just add so much immersion and cool content we could earn in game that it's almost a top feature I'd love to have. And they said, yeah, it's nice to have. Here's what the dev said. That's a very cool idea. We'll look into it. Makes total sense. I mean, that would be such a badass thing to be able to play as a bulwark and drop that banner down and have your favorite chapter on display. That'd be very cool. Now, also, special headshot sound, ping, clank, crunch, PvP. This is an interesting one. So it says, a satisfying headshot sound in multiplayer goes a long way, rewarding accuracy. For reference, Battlefield 1 and Gears of War have satisfying headshot sounds. I think that there should be a ping sound when a finishing shot penetrates a helmet, followed by a faint or loud crunch and the clank of the shot hitting the inside of the helmet. I haven't heard the headshot sound in the versus multiplayer. Maybe it is similar to this. Another thing is that the sniper doesn't wear full head protection. This could leave out the helmet sound for extra detail. Special animation for the player on receiving end of the headshot would be interesting too. A blood splatter on a close wall would be great feedback too. Visual feedback from hits are more important than hit markers, in my opinion. And it says need info. This is what the dev team implied. There are specific feedback tied to headshot in multiplayer. Please let us know after the release what you feel about it. So how are you guys feeling currently when it comes to headshots in PvP? Do you feel like they have that oomph, or do you feel like they're kind of lackluster? Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one for sure, especially for you snipers out there. You definitely have to have really good feedback when it comes to that sort of thing, or it just feels kind of underwhelming. What about missing armor color options? So from looking at the customization so far, there are 3 things that are noticeably absent: the ability to change the hand color independently from the arm, the ability to change the color of the lower half of the legs independently, and the ability to change the color of the faceplate independently from the rest of the helmet for all helmets and all classes, not just a single helmet for only the assault class as it is currently. There are over 30 chapters that have color schemes that utilize 1, 2, or all 3 of these patterns. 4 chapters that are already in the game and are missing these patterns: Iron Hands, etc., etc. So, it says many of the successor chapters that use these patterns are very popular, and we won't be able to make their color scheme correct without these 3 simple options. If Saber Focus truly wants us to be able to customize our character like we can paint our models, these are 3 very crucial things that would be greatly appreciated. These options were a part of customization in Space Marine 1, so I wholeheartedly believe they should be in Space Marine 2. That makes, absolute sense. If it was in the first game, you would think that would be in this game. These small simple fixes would mean a world of difference to Space Marine fans. They've already done similar things with the pattern settings on the chest plate helmet, so it should be a simple addition by allowing us to use a pattern to color these areas. And he does give some examples here. In particular, the lower portion of the legs can be changed up separately, and they did mark it nice to have. Thank you for your idea. We're looking into adding additional customization options in the live planning. Can't promise anything at the moment, though. It'd be really cool if you could go crazy like that with the customization. Some people aren't a fan of one feature of the operations mode. Check it out. Not a fan of dropping the gene seed when you suffer a wound and go down. It says having the gene seed disappear if you die, I can agree with, but just going down, what the F is the point of trying to get it then? Someone always goes down, and the person that does is always the one carrying it. This needs to be adjusted, in my opinion. So many people replied and agreed with this in this thread, so I thought it would be wise to bring it up. Do you guys think this needs to be adjusted? I definitely do, especially in higher difficulties. You know, going down, it's gonna happen. It really is. But dying, that's a different matter. I can understand if dying, you're kind of like punished because you do want like the VIP. That's important. It adds a whole different like meta to the game, and it makes it really, really cool, especially if you're playing with friends, randoms. Hopefully people can understand what's going on. Honestly, I do also want to say, I think there needs to be some sort of tutorial for players before heading into operations, explaining this mechanic, how important it is and what actually happens. There's some little nuances here that people just don't understand yet. And because of it, I think some players will be left a bit frustrated. So yeah, I feel like there need to be some sort of tutorial before heading into operations. Like, it's required for you to understand these simple things before going in, you know? But yeah, you know what? The devs were also called out for this one right here. Dumb decision for locking progression to harder difficulties. This makes people that don't want to be there or can handle those difficulties enter said difficulties, and everyone hates it. People that have to carry and people that have to be carried. Harder difficulties in ops should just be there for people who need more of a challenge to have fun, not to progress your character. The fact that you can't even choose the character you want to play as if someone else already has selected the said class makes it worse. Just have a level 10 guy in substantial, constantly jumping assault, and it was a nightmare keeping him alive. Played most of the mission in 2. Annoying as all hell. Thing is, around level 10, you are forced into substantial if you want to progress your character. Making already non-fun difficulties even harder with people who should not be there is frustrating to say the least. Why is a Chaos Space Marine so hard to kill? You can shoot so much of the plasma gun into his face, and he still stands there. Can't even 1 versus 1 by just trading blows with one damn enemy. The impact, the feeling of being powerful, but that is another discussion. A lot of people also do agree with this as I scroll down through here, giving their 2 cents. And I don't know, again, you know, you got to be very careful about nerfing difficulty, because there are people that work their way up to that point and they get a good synergy with their group and they get into a flow and they really enjoy it. I think if they fine-tune certain mechanics around pairing perhaps and that sort of thing, then people would get into the flow better perhaps. But yeah, adjusting difficulty is a tricky one. So I hand it over to you guys and I ask your opinion. What would you like to see with this sort of thing? Do you think they should keep the difficulty, or what is your opinion about what potentially needs to be adjusted at those higher difficulties? And ultimately, do you agree that they should have never had difficulty tied in with progression and progression tied in with difficulty? You know, that's an interesting take for sure. And I did want to bring up this right here. Someone mentioned performance after today's update. Gaming in 4K. Is anyone else's game running worse after today's update? And, you know, he shows his specs and people are saying, yeah, can confirm, say, same problem. Let me know how the game is running for you. I did notice the dev team doing some polls out on their social media asking players, how's it running for you? And it was like 63% said it was an overall improvement. Some people might also be struggling with this as well. Steam PSA, disable Steam overlay, fixes network issues, and it's that simple. That doesn't relate to performance, of course, but if you are having network issues, connectivity issues, try that. That might actually help improve that. Let me know if that's the case or not. But yeah, it looks like they're going to have to fine-tune those patches. And the good news is, yes, we're getting another patch, which should help out with performance here this week. I'll keep you guys in the know as to when that releases. You know what time it is. Time to go over your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. I love to read them. Let's check it out. So we have this one. The level check thing isn't an issue. The issue is when you go to join a mission and it forces you to take an under-level class because all your leveled ones have been selected. They need to change the auto-join feature so it puts you in games only with the class you select. Yes, 100% agree. Or they're just going to really have major problems with people leaving and, you know, not being interested in leveling a class that they don't want to play. So yeah, I get where you're coming from. Hopefully they can adjust this through and through. I think they're going to have to make kind of like multiple adjustments in the long term with this game. That'll be interesting. Now it says how to counter grapple. Don't be alone. It makes sense that the assassin class can kill you when you are alone. Yes, dude, you know, this game, it is all about teamwork. If you think you're going to be a lone wolf, good luck. You must stick with your team. That's my biggest advice for you all. If you're going to be hopping into matches, playing with randoms, no matter what, find your team, stick with them, stay in a group, watch each other's backs, because I have found that to be the most important thing. If you're alone, you are doomed. Then we have Space Wolves need furs, Raven Guard need Raven skulls hanging from them, etc. Couldn't agree more, man. I really want to see some sort of news about Space Wolf customization. They just look so badass. That would be my go-to for sure. And it says also, I haven't seen it mentioned yet, the game needs an in-game social tab. There is currently no way to add friends in-game. It kind of sucks when you find a couple of good people to play with, but you have no way to add them in the game. Couldn't agree more. And we got some 2 replies. Maybe there's some input. Agree. On Xbox, the edit squad thing has a recent player list, but it needs to be more robust, you know, all around on all the platforms. But there it is. The latest happenings around Space Marine 2. Have you guys covered? Yeah, some surprise news here today. You know, the cosmetics are looking really, really nice. Can't wait to check those out when they finally release. But yeah, I'll let you guys know when that new patch is also released as well. Thank you guys so much for love and support on the videos, and I will see you all next time. Take care.